we certainly are very, very lucky here on the Stoked Bloke Show. Not only do we get the support of the New Earth Project and the Pipeline Studios, but we get access to some of the greatest surfers in the world. Obviously, we've had Kelly Slater, Bethany Hamilton, we've had Travis Rice, greatest snowboarder in the world, on the show. Today, we have the world junior champion from the most recent ISA World Juniors, Vaihiti Inso. Thank you, mate, and congratulations on your win down there. Look at your face. Look at the smile on that face. In our little conversation before we sat at the table, it came to light that you've been struggling a little bit for results over the past couple of years. Is that right? Can you tell us, give us that little backdrop which sets up the win in El Salvador?
Yeah, I don't know. The last couple of years have not really been the best, and just kind of struggling with just losing first round every contest. But I feel like, I don't know, something just kind of clicked in with this contest, and just having the coaches, and that's the special thing about ISA is having the team support. It really kind of just all came together. I don't know. It was just, I don't know if it was luck, but it was fun. If
we go back to the results that weren't going your way, are you able to put your finger on anything there? Or perhaps maybe in this conversation we'll dig a little and see. But yeah, are you able to kind of reflect on that period and go, oh, I feel like I needed to change this or do that? Or is there anything personal, anything in that journey to go and win the World Juniors?
I swear, every contest I had, I just didn't catch a wave. I just sat out there waiting for a wave.
Well, that'll do it to you.
So, finally, someone was like, just stand up. And I was like, okay. So I stood up. I think maybe that helped.
Unreal. So tell us about El Salvador. One of the steamiest, hottest places that I've ever been. And I would go for a free surf and be and sweating, and when I'd get out of the water I'd need to sit down for 10 minutes to just calm my heart rate down and stop the sweat, because I'd be sweating when I came in from the surf. And then I started thinking about you guys having to compete there. How was it to compete in that environment with that heat and the pressure of representing your nation, or well, in this sense the Hawaiian nation, so representing your nation? And it's great that you get to do that at the juniors, isn't it? Because it's not an Olympic. So we're at the Olympics and the ISA World Surfing Games. Hawaii surfs as a part of America, and Tahiti surfs as a part of France. So you don't get the opportunity to represent your own culture and your own nation as such. But at ISA Juniors you do.
That's what I love about ISAs, is just you can represent where you come from, and especially for me, being Hawaiian and having the opportunity to represent Hawaii is beyond just the most important part. Even on finals day, and just coming into the event, I didn't care about winning. I wanted to practice heats and hopefully not lose first round, and two, just hopefully just to represent my home, and just to raise a Hawaiian flag was just the most important thing for me. And I remember talking to Uncle Shane, and he said, and just it got me excited of not it doesn't care about winning, just representing where you come from and the love you have for it. And that was just the pride I had going into it was the best feeling, more than winning, I feel like.
Yeah,
so that was just over that was just the cherry on top for me. And yeah, El Salvador's hot. It's a mental and physical struggle. In my final, I don't think I was more red. I felt like a tomato. I was just hot. My face was sizzling, and you think when you go in the ocean you can calm down and it will refresh you. It was the opposite. You were sweating in the water. It was a reverse effect, and then you get out of the water and you're even just more as hot. And it was just, and to be in a contest, and when you surf originally, you're already tired, but in the heat you're just 10 times totally. More tired, and your heartbeat's racing. So it was just sweating. You couldn't tell if it was ocean water or sweat.
Yeah, because it was all salty.
Yeah.
Mate, it's an extreme environment to compete. I was in the air-conditioned booth all the time, and I'd be in there going, oh, you wouldn't think. Then you walk outside and you go, whoa, hold on, it hits you,
And that was the winter time, the winter season for them too. They were going into winter season, so I can't imagine what summer is like for them. But even 2 years ago, when we were in ISAs, I remember it raining, and I remember it being hot, but this year was 10 times hotter. You're just sitting outside, drenching in sweat. I don't think you could, ever feel fresh.
Yeah. And the team component of it is just an amazing experience. Comes with a lot of pressure, right? Because when you're on your own, I mean, it's got pressure, but it's kind of your pressure that you put on yourself. When you've got the coaching staff and your team members and all of that on the beach, were you able to turn that into a positive? Obviously you were, because for some people that pressure is a negative. I remember when I surfed for Australia in '96, I think it was, at Huntington Beach, and it was a pressure to me. I really actually didn't. I was so used to doing it on my own and on my own path and on my own shoulders. Fitting into the team thing was complicated.
I love the team component of it, just because where we represent our own, we represent Hawaii as its own little thing. And so we always have those things where it's okay, we're able to be as one.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I feel like even 2 years ago when I went, it was just the whole component of being a family at the end of it and cheering for everyone. And I think it honestly helps when you lose out, if you were to lose early in the contest, you're able to switch it on and you still feel like you're in it. You're still in the, even for a team, to finish overall as a team, you still want your team to do good, to be able to, finish with your team. And at the finals day, it was me and Rylan left on finals day, and I remember me and Rylan, or at least I felt, I was oh my god, okay, it's just us, okay.
Fly on the floor.
Yeah, I know. I was just stressing out. I had to be okay, well, at least I have a team. And then when it was just me in the finals, I was it just felt nice to have everyone there versus if it was just, a coach and me, just to have everyone by the ocean's edge, as the heat started till the heat ended. It was just by the end of it, we were a big family, and that's what was important for me. And just because in Hawaii over here, everything is about family, and for me that's just the way I grew up. So to be able to have that and have all the emotions, I remember as soon as I came in, Jackson and the whole team was just, they were swimming, it was just deep water, and just to have everyone be there, it feels that much better having everyone there.
Yes, mate. And what a fantastic time to break that run of first round losses that you were talking about, to do it at the ISA World Juniors and set yourself up as a world junior champion for the rest of your life. You get to carry that for the rest of your life.
It's weird to think, but it's kind of cool.
Tell you what, it's so cool. When you think about it, I won the world, ASP was then World Championship in 1988. 98, 2008. So it's 35 years ago and still means something. Mm-hmm. And even back then when it happened, I had no idea that it would set you up for the rest of you. It was a very personal thing, and you felt okay, I'm good now. But you didn't realise the ongoing, long-lasting impact of having done something like that. And I'd like to talk to you a little bit more about the Hawaiiana and your connection to a more traditional way of living. But first, let's have a look at some of these results, shall we, together? And in the teams, Australia won the teams. How powerful did they look from the start?
Every single team knew, okay, Australia is going to be the ones to beat. And I was honestly, if it wasn't us, I was happy they won. They were just the group of the coolest people, even just them and how they represent, their native side through it. Yes. It was just, really cool. And seeing all of them and how much they love surfing and love the ocean, it was just the coolest thing. And we all became all good friends. So I was so happy when they all won. And they had four finalists. They had two got first and second in the boys 18s, didn't they? Dane Henry. How good is Dane Henry? Oh my God, it was crazy.
He's crazy good. And Fletcher Kelleher got second. So Australia in the teams, they won it. Hawaii, you guys were second. Congratulations. We had France in third. They're an amazing team, and the work that they've been doing behind the scenes with the administration and the coaching staff is setting them up as a powerhouse. And they're definitely going to go to Tahiti with the Olympic Games and challenge for team gold there, as well as the individual gold. USA was fourth, Japan fifth, Brazil sixth. Quite a way down for Brazil, you would imagine, in comparison to how they do on the world stage. Spain seventh. They're one nation who I see massive things for in the future. They've got a great, especially even on the women's side. Huh?
Spain, I was scared of Spain. I thought they were gonna win. They had some amazing talent. There was this girl in under 16, I don't think I've ever seen a girl in under 16 surf that good. I was like, wow, this is amazing. Just everyone on Team Spain.
Yeah, Team Spain was super impressive, so we see big things for them. 8th was Peru, 9th was Argentina, and 10th was South Africa, bro. And then we had New Zealand, Canada, Tahiti in 13th, so that was pretty exciting. But again, I thought watching, from the sidelines, Australia, Hawaii, when you look at where those teams came, it felt like a really good reflection of who was where. Then we go to the boys' 16s. We had Dylan Donegan in first place. He's amazing, representing Spain. Lucas Skinner, Tiago Passeri was third, and Alexis Owen from New Zealand was fourth in the boys. And then in the boys' 18s, we had Dane Henry and Fletcher Kelleher, who we just mentioned, first and second. Hickson Falsao, I don't know if I'm saying that right or not. Falcao, I've heard it pronounced, from Brazil. And Iko Watanabe was the fourth place for Japan. Then we get to girls' 16s. Ziggy McKenzie from Australia, who I've known for quite a long time through Blastoff as well. Ziggy's a great young surfer. Congratulations to her and her family. Clemens Schorsch from France. Louise Lapront from South Africa was third, and Eden Waller was fourth. And then we go to the division we've all been waiting for, folks. First place, girls 18s, Vaihiti Inso from Hawaii. Tia Zabrowski, who you mentioned, 13 years of age, surfed both divisions, surfed multiple heats, surfed herself into the ground. And you were saying that in that final, she looked like she was about to explode. She was so red, so hot. So congrats to her. Sarah Fryer from the USA in third, and fourth was Australia's Mila Brown. So congratulations to all of those surfers, especially to our guest today, winning girls 18s. Carry that World Championship tag for a long time. Let's talk Hawaii. Growing up here, I know I met your dad Rocky at the airport, and he was so proud. You hadn't come through yet, and I was like, "She's coming." He was buzzing because he was so excited. What does it mean for you to represent your country? Just to put it in context, I don't know what I am. So I don't know where. My dad was an orphan, so I don't know anything about my father's side of the family, where he came from, what I have from that side of the family. So I'm a mongrel of sorts. I don't know what I am that's lived in Australia all my life, someone else's country. Now in the last, I bought a house here in 1989, and so it's always felt like home or a second home in the last 5 years I've been here. But again, I'm an Australian mongrel living in Hawaii, so I've always been living in someone else's home, essentially. I don't know where my home is. I don't even know if I have one. So that, to me, that opportunity to connect with your heritage, your bloodline, who and what you are inside of you is a wonderful thing. And I see it blossoming out of you too, even from the flower behind your ear. You know what I mean? Like, that must mean a lot, huh?
Just, it's like, I'm going to try not to cry because being from Hawaii is it's like my home. Like you said, it's like where I grew up, and it's where my ancestors came from. And for me, surfing, it's never been like a sport. It's never been something like, okay, how to get the results, how to get any profit out of it, just more how can we connect and how can we share the love that we have around the world. And that's the thing I think about surfing, is it's so everyone is drawn to it from the love of the ocean that they all have, whether it's bodyboarding, swimming, surfing, and all different types of surfing. That's what brings everyone around together. And I don't know, it's for me, growing up, my parents always told me surfing in the ocean, it's your ancestors you're connecting with. And so you think about the waves, that's your ancestor coming to you, and you connect on the wave in that sort.
In an energetic form, right?
Yeah, and you think of how skateboarding, you can practice your reps over and over again. Tennis, you can practice. Football, your plays. But for surfing, it's so you have to be connected to that source, to your ancestor, to the ocean. And for me, that was always that's what I found in surfing. It was never how to get, I guess, in the sense of now competing, how to become a better surfer, but more how to become a better person and to connect to the ocean. And for me, that's what it was all about. And so being able to represent Hawaii, that's why I came back to ISAs, is just one, the team event, and just how much I love it, but to represent my home and kind of a world stage like that, it was nothing more I'm like, because everything was so Australia and France, I was like, I just want to raise the Hawaiian flag, whatever that is. And like, just to carry like the pride, and Uncle Shane like helped remind me that like it's not about the results. It's just, you know, how you show up as like a person. And just, I remember 2 years ago when we went, it was, that was a lot of our first time there with doing ISAs and our team. And I remember he told us like, you know, Hawaii is the birthplace of surfing. So, you know, show it and be respectful. And it was just like, I remember like coming back this year and just like seeing everyone and just how happy they are representing their own countries, and like no matter like the different languages, and you can't, you know, really understand other people, but you can understand like the love that they have for surfing and connect through that. And that was just the most important thing for me.
Even down to Siqi Yang Suchi from China, like you can't, we don't really communicate, but you communicate because you've got that connection of the ocean and of surfing. And that, you know, I suppose in that sense, props to your parents for grounding you in that cultural element of, and not being obsessed by success and it all being about winning and losing. Rather, it's got a more, you know, deeper, and it resonates with you on another level. And I think that's what we feel when we watch you surf at the ISAs. Kind of a tough question. What if you were to look at your surfing, say in gears from first to fifth? So you're in the car. Into fifth. What gear do you think your surfing hit? And I asked the question because I feel like you had more in the tank. I feel like... Talk to me.
I feel like I was so nervous throughout this whole event because even though I wanted to win, I like couldn't think about that, and I just wanted to take it like heat by heat. And that's what Uncle Shane told me. He's like, okay, like it's, you know, it's, you do the surf your first 5 minutes of a heat, like nothing's guaranteed at the end. And I remember first heat was nervous, then second and third heat was at Sunzal, which was the wave I lost at the years before. I was like downpouring before it. I was like, I'm so nervous, and then I did fine. And then finally it was finals day, and it was weird. I watched all the finals and they were all rights. There was no lefts. And all of a sudden I was like, I felt just calm. I was like, I don't know if I knew like I was going to be fine if the rights came, but almost like the sense like there was going to be lefts. Like I was going to be fine. And then all of a sudden these lefts just started coming out of nowhere. And I think I was so nervous. Yeah. I was surfing so safe. I've made mistakes. I fell. And I felt like, I remember coming in and I was like, even though I won, like it didn't, like as good as it felt, I was like, I still feel like I could have maybe like done a little bit better. And that was like the one thing I was like, oh, it's okay. But I was like more than happy to win. But it was just, I was like on my whole other break. Like everyone was going right. I was just in my own little world going left. And I don't know. I definitely feel like I still had more, which I guess was, which was cool to like now look back and be like, oh, okay. But it was okay.
No, that's what I felt. I felt like, you know, commentating and watching, I felt like there was more in the tank, and which speaks volumes to how unbelievable this young lady is, because you had more left in the tank, but you didn't have to go to it to win. And the fact that you know that you have more in the tank, and really I suppose it's a process of learning how to unleash that at the right time, and you didn't need to at that point in time, and you did enough, and you got to carry the flag and hear the anthem standing on the stage.
That was the coolest part. I was just sitting there, I was like, looking at everyone. But it was funny, like in the first wave in my exchange, my heat, I caught and I was like, oh, it's gonna be a 5. Like I knew because I was on my whole different break on the left, I knew like, and I was stressing out, paddling out. I was hearing like 8. I was like, oh my God, I'm like combination. I was like, oh my God, I'm comboed. Like I thought it was the other girls, just because like you look at all the other girls, I was like, oh my God, like I really had to step on my game. And when I took off the wave, I was like, that wasn't it. I was like, oh no, I have to get back out. So I heard that I got the 8 off. I was like, oh, what? Okay. And so then it was just like a back and forth, but it was cool. Like I was super nervous for this heat, like all the girls in that, you know, I knew I had to bring like my best game, but luckily maybe like it was just going my way.
Yeah. Well, and it felt like it flowed your way too, and you didn't have to struggle. And while there might have been that inside struggle and the nerves and the stuff that you've let us know about, geez, it didn't look it from the outside. It looked calm and collected and sort of it just looked within its space where it never got stretched to somewhere, you know. I was like, wow, she won that without even getting stretched, which was amazing, mate. Speaks volumes for your future. What are the goals moving forward from here?
I would hopefully like to qualify for Challenger this year, but I've never been on a surf trip, so I guess we're gonna go to Bali thanks to New Earth Project with them, and it'll be a good time. And now that'll be my first surf trip. Hopefully, we can get some cool content and learn more about the place.
What did I just did? What do you mean you've never been on a surf trip? Well, I mean, living here on Oahu, you live on a surf trip, pretty much. Mm-hmm. But what do you mean? Seriously?
Yeah, I've never been anywhere like that wasn't a contest. So I mean, when I went to El Salvador, I'm like, oh yeah, this was a surf trip. Like, the week before, I was like, this was a cool surf trip. And, okay, contest time. Yes. But now I get to go on a real surf trip.
Wow, mate, I can't believe you. Yes. That's gonna allow you to discover stuff in your surfing as well. You know, when you go on a surf trip and it's not focused on developing a performance to win something, but developing a performance to make you feel great about yourself. You're going to love that.
I know. I'm so excited.
I know the other day, just to go back to one of the parts of living here that I've become aware of is the whole ahupua'a system which is an ancient system, right, of management and utilizations of the resources to feed the population. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about that and how that works, your connection to that. I know you guys went to a fish pond. What was the name of that fish pond?
Pai Pai Heia.
Pai Pai Heia. I could say that.
Yeah, that was good.
I was scared
really
at first. I was too scared to try it. Tell us a little bit about that whole system and how that resonates with you, because it resonates with me. I look at it and go, wow. When I was a kid, all of the ancient civilizations outside of Europe were portrayed as uncivilized, maybe uneducated, whatever that pompous, arrogant European attitude was about the rest of the world as they sailed out to steal it. That to me was, one of the great misjustices of our time, is that we were never shown the beauty of Indigenous culture and the depth of understanding and connection that we are largely moving back towards in a conscious shift globally, because people recognise the value of that time and of those ideas and management systems of which Hawaii was a leader in.
I mean, even though I'm like Hawaiian, I never grew up going to, I guess I would say, like a Hawaiian school. I've been to a couple, and to be able to learn, but you like growing up, you always see the poster of the ahupua'a system where it starts up at the top of the mountains and all as a whole island as a collective works all the way down to the ocean, and how it all works in sync. It all works as one. If something at the top isn't working, it will eventually flood down to the bottom. And I feel like that was my first time going to a fish pond, and it was one of the most beautiful experiences. And to go with my family and friends and learn more about the place, and we were able to clean out the mangroves, which was, the whole fish pond was covered in them, and so we were able to clean it out, and it just feels cool to be able to help something that I guess you come from. And in a sense of sustainability, like our ancestors were so good at using our resources and being able to use our island and us to be able to help our people. In that sense, it was cool to learn more about what happened and what our ancestors did before us, and how we can still keep it going to our best ability.
Yeah, it's like one of the most important things is that we keep that connection with all that ancient intelligence. Quickly, want to get your comments on Vaihiti Fierro and her winning there at home, because you could imagine what that would be like. I suppose we're here at Pipeline, and I can see a day in the future, mate. I can see it when you're on the tour and you're at the Pipeline Masters and these opportunities present themselves to you. How did you feel watching that event?
Well, Vaihiti's, she's always been an inspiration, and just to see her at Chops, like it's mind-blowing, like how Moana is out at Pipe. It's just like the connection they have, it's like different. You can see it. It's like when I always grew up hearing like, the ocean is, and the waves are your ancestors and you connecting to it. When I see people like Vaihiti and Moana, like in those thick scenarios in a barrel, like you can feel their connection to their ancestors there in that point. And I've known Vaihiti and her sisters for a while, and just like, I think even her just being Tahitian and being there from home, like having her family, and that was just like the coolest moment. Like I started crying when I saw her win, like every time. Like it's just the coolest moment. And even when she qualified for Olympics, like knowing like her, just her and her connection to, Chopes, like you just know it's just that feeling, something big's gonna come through just like her power that she shares with that island and, that ocean.
Yeah. The future for you, what do we do now? We it's summertime here in Hawaii. You surf a lot in town. This is the season for bowls. You like it in there? You surf there a lot?
Bowls, I grew up surfing, and also Kaisers.
Yeah.
That's where I learned how to surf at Kaisers, and just because Bowls is right over there, I eventually went out. And like how you said, when people, I feel like, give in some, not, more than others. And I feel like in the sense of surfing, like growing up and having, like uncles out in the water, they've like taken me under their wing. It's like when people, there's like the sense of like giving a sense of physical, something physical giving, versus I feel like in surfing you have that like spiritual connection where like you give something in a sense of like love to like help come and like learn more about that space and learn more about the wave. And that's what's been super cool about just growing up in Hawaii. You have that sense of local, like having, family. I'd consider all like uncles my family just because that's what it is. And just to be able to have them share their knowledge about the ocean and surfing, that's like how you learn, not only through you learning through the ocean, but for other people's knowledge passing down through generations. But Bowls, being a goofy footer, we love Les, we love Bowls, and hopefully this summer will be good. I'm hoping to stay home and just surf there as much as possible.
And competitively,
there's also a contest in 10 days at Bowls, a QS.
Yeah.
So hopefully that will go good. Can make a heat or two.
And then, say we're 16 now and we go, okay, 10 years in the future. You're only 26. You're a spring chicken still. 10 years, a lot of time when you think of it like that, isn't it? You go, you're where you are now and you're 16, you're a world junior champion. Is the goal to be the world champion?
That would be cool. That's the goal.
Yeah,
One
that
day.
is the goal.
Yeah.
Well, we see that in your performance. I just thought we better ask.
Yeah. That's like growing up. That's all I've like ever wanted to do, and of course that's like everyone's dream. So hopefully it'll be cool, and especially I feel like in this generation, there's so many amazing, young, talented young women that's pushing the boundaries, even like on tour now. That I think we all know they're gonna get a couple world titles, if not. So hopefully that's the goal, and just. I want to take my time getting on tour, no rush. And I feel like I've seen that a lot where I feel like going on when you're ready. And I was talking to like a couple of the tour surfers now who just got on tour and they're like, yeah, like take your time. Like it's not about rush and just enjoying the process and, not losing the love for surfing and for competing. And I think after this win, like I'm just jonesing to like win again or just win something. I don't know. No. And so it's like cool just to have that feeling again and confidence. But
it's addictive.
Yeah,
it's a lovely feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And your body inside, like you like it, but the body inside likes it too. It's a high for it. And it can, once you've done it and you've felt it, and it knows what it felt like, then you're on the rails. You've got those train tracks to kind of sit on and go towards, because the intelligence in this thing, it'll deliver you more. We're 100% confident. PK out the back there, 100% confident. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. Congratulations on your world title, and thank you for being the beautiful Hawaiian you are.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.